and gentlemen, welcome back to a whole new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe, with my co-host on the other side, Cantu. School year's here, dude.
I know, stressing already. Hasn't even started tomorrow. Meet the teacher. But everything, everything's good. Just chilling here.
How's the meet the teacher like? I haven't done that since freaking middle school maybe.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, parents comes, kids come. It's like your first impression, right? It's like little, uh, just to see who you are, who they are. Just trying to put a name to the face. But it's pretty good. It's just like, honestly, my meet teacher, like 5 minutes as I introduce myself. Any questions? All right, you're good to go.
Nice. I know. I mean, now the freeways in Houston are starting to get a little bit more packed in the morning. Even when it was not the school year, obviously everybody was going for summer. Freeways were looking good around 6 a.m. Now it's getting packed as hell just for the fact that the school year is here. Some students already started school over here in Houston. Actually, I want to say.
Yeah, I think Alina Park, Kingwood, ISD, yeah.
So yeah, school year is just around the corner. You start Monday, correct?
Monday, yeah.
Damn. I don't even know when. I don't know when Houston ISD starts. So
same day.
Is it the same day? Actually, oh shit! Wow, that's early though. Now it used to be late back then.
It feels like it. Yeah, it feels right here.
That's crazy. But then again, they get these free days too at HISD all of a sudden. But episode 203 is here. Astros retain the silver boot in
Before
Houston.
We move on, shout out to Carlos from Bring on the Blitz. He's a teacher too. He's going back to work.
You know what? Not even shout out just him. Shout out to all the teachers out there doing their part and giving these kids everything they got. Because I kid you not, working with kids, some are good, some are bad, and then some you might have to just put them in their spot. But other than that, I mean, they do some good work out there. I know you do, dude.
Appreciate it.
But episode 203, like I said, Astros retained the silver boot in Houston because the Astros were able to win the series in Arlington and complete that silver boot series with, I want to say, 8 years in a row now that the boot is in Houston. So since 2017, the Astros have had the silver boot at Minute Maid Park. We'll recap that Ranger series right there on the side. Starting pitching, I'm going to give it to you to see what's that one word you want to describe it. We usually say phenomenal, fantastic. I'll put you on the spot here in a minute. Offense just did enough. A lot of struggles in runners in scoring position. A lot of things like that we'll talk about here. Yordan Alvarez hitting that number 150. Fatigue setting in. Maybe not. We'll talk about that. Who's invited to the Carne Asada? No pitching preview as of right now. I have yet to see the Red Sox or the Astros post the rotation for this series, but I have a good feeling it's probably going to be Eric Getty, Blanco, and Hunter Brown. Trade station injury news and around the horn. But Angel, before we get started, let everybody know in the chat where they can find us.
Absolutely. If you're looking at the clicker right there, you can find every new episode or previous episode on Spotify podcasts, Apple Podcasts at Full Steam Ahead. You can find us at TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. We are there giving you the best content and live content for Astros baseball. Don't forget to leave a rating, subscribe, tell your friends, and just shouting us out. We appreciate some love and some reviews, some comments. Just let us know how we're doing.
Yes, we love the engagement from the audience. I mean, we have different platforms from everywhere, from the US, Mexico, Canada. I think we've even seen Asia, Belgium. I mean, it's so cool seeing baseball globalize, with this sport. But the Astros, real quick, record is 59-55. They are now first in the AL West. Last time we talked to y'all, they were second in the American League West, but now they are up in front of the Mariners, half a game, with a 59-55 record. The Tigers, I want to say the Tigers did win that series. I know they won the last game against the Mariners with Tyreek Skubal on the mound. So the American League Cy Young favorite, I would say, was helping the Astros out in that department. But that's good to see. I feel like it's just going to be a tied race, dude. I think it's going to be a tied race all the way to September, just like how it was for the Rangers last year in 23.
Yeah, that's why for that one word, I'm about to tell you, this was an important series for the Astros. They were able to stay in first place and also win the series against the Rangers. Like you said, last year, that's what it came down to. They were both tied in the division. It came down to who won the regular season battle. Astros did it again. I mean, don't count the Rangers out. Yes, they're battling some injuries, but they're only like 5 games uh, out of first place. You've seen Seattle falter a little bit here and there. Even the Astros have been faltering here and there too. So I mean, don't count them out. These last stretch of a season is going to be pretty important, and winning the series against your division rivals could come down to the wire, just like last year. Like could be important for a playoff hope or being eliminated for the playoffs.
I will ask you this: if one of these teams win the division, let's just say the Astros, since it's an Astros podcast, does the second team behind them get into the wild card? Do you think?
No, I don't think so because if you look at uh, if you look at the Houston and Seattle record right now, Houston's in first place. That puts Seattle 4.5 games back out of the third and final wild card spot. The third place team is 9.5 games of the wild card spot. That's why it's gonna be very important to win your division, very important to win these series because, like I said, like I even said this earlier in the podcast, like a few, like maybe June or something like that. I forgot that there might be only one team from the AL West in the playoffs, and it's gonna be the division leader, just because how competitive it's been and how injuries and offensive slumps have honestly halted all three top teams in the AL West from taking a big step forward.
Yeah, I agree. Baltimore right now leads the wild card 68-47. The Yankees are 68-47, which I think one of those teams obviously is going to take the division. So we'll just move up another team. Minnesota 63-50. And whoever would take that last wild card spot as of right now is the Kansas City Royals with a 64-52 record. Boston is just 1.5 games, which the Astros will be playing. Will travel to Beantown with a 61-52 record. So, yeah, like you said, I think whichever team wins the division, that's the only team that's going to be in the playoffs representing the American League West. I don't see the Mariners, I don't see the Rangers, or I don't see the Astros. Like I said, whoever wins that division, that's going to be the only team that represents the American League West in the 2024 postseason.
Now, don't get me wrong, 4.5 games back. I mean, it's not a big number.
It's
That's
doable.
it's like yeah, it gets doable. But the way
Mm.
like the trend these three teams are going, they they're gonna need all the wins they can get to compete for that wild card spot.
Yeah, like we were talking about that last episode with the Tampa Bay Rays. That was a very important series for the Astros because if you match it on paper, I mean, the Astros look like the better and stronger team. But the funny thing about this game of baseball is it can go either way. And sure enough, it went the Rays' way, uh, especially with the Astros offense not producing. But let's start it off. Starting pitching, Angel. I did tell you about the one word of this series. Give me the one word of the starting pitching from the Astros this series.
Phenomenal. I mean, I think they did what they had to
All
do.
right, we're going back with phenomenal then.
Yeah, we're going back to phenomenal.
Go
I mean,
back.
it was important series to win, but it was a phenomenal performance by the pitching staff. Hunter Brown, Framber Valdez, and Yusei Kikuchi were all brilliant uh, in these three steps. I mean, in these 3 games, and this is what the Astros are going to need if they're going to be uh, trying to win games. Because sometimes the offense, especially with Kyle Tucker, long absence, and the way the struggles of that 5 through 9 have been for this lineup, it seems that the Astros are going to have to pitch their way into some wins, and like it happened with Framber, it happened with Hunter Brown too, and I mean that's what it seems like it's going to come down to. Just because sometimes this offense seems like it just can't get those situational hits, those much needed RBIs as much as they could.
My gosh, when you combine the three starts from these starting pitchers, they only gave up 5 earned runs. Very incredible from all three. Let's start with Hunter Brown. 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. 97 pitches were thrown. 59 of them were strikes. And we talked about in the last episode for Hunter Brown, that start against the Pittsburgh Pirates wasn't the best, and it ended consecutive streaks pitching through the 6th inning as well as quality starts. But we talked about it was going to be a well needed bounce back start from him coming against the Rangers, and he doesn't have the best numbers against the Rangers. I think it's like a 3 ERA, at least mid. And it was a well needed bounce back start. I mean, sinker was looking good, fastball and off speed command was looking very well for the Diesel.
Yeah, I mean he was phenomenal, and the strikeout numbers weren't there, but he had to. I mean, he did what he had to do to get outs, and that's all that matters. Again, 16 pitch running Brown, and that's been the trend this season.
Yeah, it's been a huge trend going through six really, and adding another quality start to his book. And Framber Valdez, speaking of quality starts, is the man that has, I think, the MLB record for most quality starts consecutively. 8 2/3, one hit, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts. 101 pitches were thrown, 67 of them were strikes. He did induce 2 double plays, which we had talked to you about. Um, he has the most double plays, I want to say, as a starter in Major League Baseball. 1 out away, dude. 1 out away from another no hitter under his book. It would have been his second career no hitter. It would have been the Astros' 19th in franchise history. And
He
he just left the hanging slider in the strike zone.
Yeah, he could have also joined Don Wilson as the only Astros pitcher to have two or more no hitters. It's close.
Well, Justin Verlander does have what, 2 or 3? I want to say 2.
Does he? But with the
I
Astros,
think he has 2 or 3. Oh, not with the Astros though.
that's what I'm saying. With the Astros,
Does he have 2? No, he only has 1.
one. Yeah,
That was against Toronto. Yeah. So yeah, Framber Valdez, man. I mean, pitched one of the best pitching performances this season, I would say, for him. Even though he's had like 10 plus strikeouts. I mean, right here, almost a no hitter, an important game, especially because if the Astros lose that game, they lose the boot. They lose the silver boot, and the boot goes to Globe Life Field. And not just that, they lose the series. They lose the series. And, shout out to Yordan Alvarez hitting a 2-run homer, because if he didn't hit that home run, it would have been a tie ball game right there in the ninth.
yeah. That mixture was crazy. I mean, it was much needed. I mean, they can never have too much runs, and I mean, Yordan Alvarez, he had a little home run slump, but seems to be back.
Yeah, Framber Valdez, though, you called it, second half hero. He's doing a really good job so far in the second half of the season. But speaking of new guys in second half appearances, I think we could just introduce them with the song. We got to introduce it. Dude, every time he pitches well.
Yeah.
Every time he pitches well. I kid you not, this song will come on. Oh. Also, someone from the Houston Chronicle did put out an art. Look at you putting your phone out with the light. Thank God you didn't put the flame on. It would have been very flammable inside the house. But man, I can't remember his name. The person who published that article on the Houston Cron about Yusei Kikuchi's strikeout song with Lisa Loeb. And the song is called Stay. If anybody did not know that, now you'll know. But real quick, let's go through Yusei Kikuchi's stat line. 5 in the third, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts. 100 pitches were thrown, 60 of them were strikes. You did see that mix of the fastball, the slider, the third best pitch was his changeup, and then the curveball was, I think it was like changeups were 13 thrown, and then curveball was 12 pitches thrown. But you can see that he's utilizing that changeup a little bit more. We talked about that whenever this trade did go down, and an article was published through the Athletic that if he utilizes that changeup a little bit more often, you're going to find a lot of success. And sure enough, he's done that with the Astros. Both starts combined, 11 innings pitched, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 walks, 19 strikeouts. He has a higher strikeout rate in a Houston Astros uniform this year than he was with the Toronto Blue Jays this season. So it shows a lot that this guy has a lot of swing and miss stuff. It just looks like the Blue Jays didn't utilize him the right way. If you look at the Blue Jays starting rotation right now too, and even looking back of this season, Kevin Gossman, an all-star, he hasn't been pitching really well this season. Alek Manoah, that's the one that I want to talk about because he was an all-star, and now all of a sudden he just fell like face off the earth. And he had to go through the development over there at their spring training facility. But I mean, I don't know if it's not Baltimore, Toronto with their starting pitchers, but Yusei Kikuchi doing a really good job establishing himself in this starting rotation.
Yeah, I mean, 2 phenomenal first impressions, you might say. I think Dana Brown somewhere they're smiling because I know he just pulled out a pretty good trade so far.
Oh yeah, a lot of people were just giving him hell about the package that they did throw out. But if you go look at Joey Luperfido's numbers right now with the Toronto Blue Jays, it hasn't been pretty. Of course, Jake Bloss is still going to be in the farm system as well as Will Wagner. So far, it's looking like a hit for the Astros. But until, of course, the season prolongs, and the first reason why that the Astros got a starting pitcher is because of the rotation. They have no depth right now. They needed a guy that can eat extra innings, and sure enough, Kikuchi has done that in both his starts. But Tony kind of said it best, Angel. Oh, what happened to Evan Carter for the Rangers? Thought he was the next megastar.
The lower back stress. He's out for the season.
Yeah, he's dealing with injury. I know he was dealing with an injury. Of course, Josh Jung is barely coming back from an injury. The one I think the biggest downgrade this season for the Rangers is Adolis Garcia. That's what I would say.
Absolutely.
But he did say it best. Stros should have swept this series. Yeah, it could have been a sweep for them, but we'll talk about game one right now. Offense just did not do enough in the series. Oh, we got a phone call coming in. I think it's the president from the White House checking in on the Rangers. But going back, game one, 3 runs were only scored for the Astros. They were 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position, 11 men left on base. Let's go to game two. They did win that game, 4 runs with 3 for 11 with runners in scoring position, 10 left on base as well. And then finally, the series finale, they did score 6 runs. But if you look at the runners in scoring position, 3 for 14, 10 left on base. Would you say fatigue is setting in, since we're already going to be talking about that pretty soon? Do you think the lineup right now, and specifically really it's going to be the middle and the bottom part of the order, what do you think needs to happen there?
Just need to adjust. I think pitchers are finding out how to pitch them. There's a bit of a lack of experience with like the Zenzel, Pedro Leon in there, but guys like Dubon, Chas McCormick, even Jake Myers at times, like they need to adjust. Like these pitchers are figuring out how to get them out. Look at Jeremy Pena. Like once they figured out how to get him out, that's how they threw him, and he had to adjust. So I think that's what needs to be going on with the 5-9 lineup right now. So yeah, I mean, I think they need to adjust. Like guys are figuring them out. They've had a bunch of tape, especially like a team like the Rangers, who've seen these guys before. They get those ticks and acts that the players do. But I think I feel like that's all it is. And then just a little hit here and there can get you some confidence back.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Astros had a bunch of opportunities. I mean, all the way to start of game one. Trey Cabbage did strike out with bases loaded. I mean, a lot of opportunities with bases loaded, man. And the Astros really couldn't capitalize. Chas McCormick's another one. Jeremy Pena being out. Usually he has that speed that helps him out. And sure enough, it did help him out in one of those scenarios. But like you said, they just got to find a way to adjust. They got to find a way to strike approach, put the ball in play some way, somehow, instead of striking out, popping out. Because 1 for 9, 3 for 11, 3 for 14 with runners in scoring position, that's not pretty. That is not a pretty stat, especially if you're going to play a playoff team, which is coming up, which I think the Red Sox are a playoff team. They've been playing great baseball, but that's not going to allow going against postseason teams like that.
The Red Sox are 1.5 games back from the last wild card spot. So I mean, you can consider them a playoff team.
Yeah, I think. I mean, they're pretty up there, but with runners in scoring position, the Astros could have easily ran through game one, game two as well. Like I said, if Yordan Alvarez didn't hit that 2-run homer, it would have been a tie ball game. It would have been a different story. I think almost Josh Hader almost gave up a home run to Josh Young. You saw that, right? In the warning track in right field.
It would have been a home run at Minute Maid Park.
Yep. So, yeah, I think the offense just got to – you just said it best, dude. You hit the nail around the coffin. They just got to find a way to adjust and do a better job at the play. But let's end it on a good note. Yordan Alvarez making some history in an Astros uniform. Hits his 150th home run on Tuesday night. Like I said, that's the 2-run homer that helped the Astros. 436-foot, 2-run shot. That was a moonshot. Becoming the fastest Astros in franchise history to collect 150 home runs in his 500th 90th career game. 590 career game. He passed George Springer. He had the previous record. Not even close. Not even close. 723 career games he did when he hit his 150th home run. And let's kind of prolong it to more of the MLB side. Alvarez is the eighth fastest player to reach 150 in MLB history per Elias Sports. Can you try to give me 7 of these guys? Because Alvarez obviously is the 8th
7.
guy.
Yeah.
Can you try to give me 7 of these players that have hit 150 home runs?
Give me Pujols. I think Pujols in his prime was pretty remarkable.
Okay, Pujols
Uh,
is on there. That's
is
one.
he? Okay. And I remember Peter Alonso going like on a 50 home run, like 48, 50 home run, start like his first 2 years.
Yep, P. Alonso's on there, 538. Albert Pujols,
Um,
586.
5 weeks. Okay, that's surprising.
Yeah.
I don't know. What the rest?
We got Ryan Howard of the Philadelphia
Ryan,
Phillies.
number one.
Yep, he's number 1 with 495. Peter
That's
Alonso
great.
is number 2, like you said, 538. Aaron Judge is on this list, 552. Eddie Matthews, who is not a Hall of Famer, which the dude needs to get in the Hall of Fame. I don't know how he's not, but 569. Ralph Kiner, 570. Albert Pujols, 586. And Mark McGuire in 7th with 588.
I'm surprised Barry Bonds is not on that list. Honestly,
He is not on the list. But majority of these guys, well, not majority, but some. Eddie Matthews, well, Ralph Kiner is a Hall of Famer. Albert Pujols, Garrity is a Hall of Famer.
yeah.
The
See Ryan
way
Howard, Mark McGuire.
huh?
I think Ryan Howard, Peter Alonso, Mark McGuire are the only non Hall of Famers right now.
Well, Aaron Judge too.
Aaron Judge.
But the way he's hitting the ball right now,
You think he gets to 60 again?
he's at 40 something, right? 40
Yeah.
home runs.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he gets there. I honestly wouldn't be surprised. But Yordan Alvarez, 590 career games, hit his 150th, and then all of a sudden, the next game, his 151 at 117 miles per hour to the bullpen. Did you see that?
Yeah, that was a line shot.
That was a laser. That was a laser. Yeah, I mean, you said it in the last episode. He hadn't hit a home run in like weeks since the Seattle series, and all of a sudden he said, "Hold my beer, let me get these. Let me hit a home run, and you know what? Screw it. Let me hit another home run to put myself out there." But Yordan Alvarez, 150 home runs in the book, as he has 151 home runs. Tony's getting on the chat. Loperfido already struck out 11 times as a Blue Jay. Wow. And we did talk about that in that trade. Loperfido was a fan favorite, but the strikeout rate was pretty high whenever he was in the league. And then to continue on, stretch out the lineup by playing both Caratini and Diaz together. Sucks that Yordan has to play the field more. I honestly like that take. Caratini did hit a home run in this series against the Rangers. But if they do that, you gotta have to carry another
a third catcher. Yeah.
Which Cesar Salazar didn't really do a bad job when he got called up.
I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea because what Almenez Diaz hasn't really played. I mean, that's a roster spot that Cesar Salazar could take. So, I mean, you could have that, but at the moment, as someone like, at the moment, it's not going to happen because, like, if God forbid one of them does get hurt, you lose a DH there. The pitcher has to hit, and it's just kind of like, if the pitcher comes up and a run scoring opportunity, it could cost you the game there.
Yeah, totally agree with you, Daniel. Hey guys, how are you feeling about the Astros staying on top of the division? Well, they got their offense got to pick up right now.
They got to win games,
and then, if starting pitching continues to do what they're doing, which they've been pitching really well in these past 2 series, then they could stay on top. Because right now, for the the Mariners, that's what's going to keep them afloat is their starting pitching. They got one of the best rotations in baseball. Their offense isn't the best, but their rotation is really.
I think once Cantu comes back, that offense will be a different story.
It'll definitely be a different story, I would say. And let's just move on to the fatigue part of the objectives of this podcast. Fatigue setting in. Kyle Tucker will have that update with the injury news, but when he gets back, then you're going to see some guys getting some rest days. And I think that's the biggest thing right now is they're needing some rest. It's kind of like the dog days of summer too. I'm not going to make that as an excuse. But when you're playing 162 games in a full season, compare that to football, compare that to basketball. Football, you only play what, 17 regular season games or 18 regular season games. I mean, I'm not the football guru, but you play a total of 20 something if you reach the Super Bowl. Same goes for the NBA. I mean, you're playing 82 regular season games, and then you got the playoffs and then the NBA finals. Baseball is really the only sport that has a lot of games
Hockey
going on
too.
in their season. Say it again.
I said hockey too.
Oh,
As
hockey
well,
too. I
yes.
don't know the games right in front of me, but basketball and football I really know at the top of my head. But I just wanted to dig a little deeper, seeing guys career wise. John Singleton's one of the guys. I mean, he's played 89 games so far this year with the Astros, which he's been a really good story for Houston this season. He's really done really well stepping in when Jose Abreu was DFA'd, offensively, defensively, especially. But the most he's played in a single season, you got to go back 10 years ago in 2014. He played 95 games, and you know what team that was?
Houston Astros.
The Houston Astros. 95 games in 2014 with them. That is his career high games played. So he's probably going to pass that this year in this season. So maybe Big John does need a little bit of days off. And we talked about the first base situation right now. And you only got two guys, really. You only got John Singleton and Mauricio Dubon. Well, this past series, they called up Zach DeZenzo, their number 4 prospect. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, and he played first base.
Yeah, he played first base in the second game. The first game that he debuted was in the DH role, which he went 0 for with some strikeouts. But hey, he made an adjustment that second time around, getting I think he had a multi-hit game. I don't know if it was 2 or 3 hits, but the multi-hit game was in there, and he did play a little bit of first base. And we talked about too, if it was either between him or Whitcomb, I said Whitcomb just for the fact that he's played in AAA a little bit longer. He's played some first base as well. I thought that would have been the guy. And his offensive numbers have looked really well too with the Sugarland Space Cowboys. But they went ahead and brought DeZenzo, and so far offensively he's done a really good job defensively as well. You can't judge a book by its cover with one game, but stepping in at the right time when some of these guys need some days off, just mentally to prepare themselves too for the upcoming game. Maybe giving John, and I think John Singleton didn't play that last game. Did he or did he not?
No, I think it was Dubon, I believe.
Yeah, it gives them an extra day of rest on this off day for the Astros going into Friday night against the Red Sox. So, yeah, I mean, John Singleton, not really familiar with that territory, but he's getting there. And sure enough, you're getting help along the way with Zach DeZenzo coming up from the farm.
But what to me is that's why you have an off season, like fatigue for pitchers makes sense. Just because pitching, it's a full body motion you're doing constantly. But as a position player, that's what like you do your pregame routine, like you do your off-season workouts. I think fatigue may be an issue, but I think it'll be a minor one. I think it's more like just getting your head right, the mentality aspect of the game for John Singleton. I mean, he's shown glimpses of what he can do. The best is just continuing that.
Yeah, and even Jake Myers too. I was looking at his career games. Last year in 23, he had 112 career games played of that season. He's already at 105 right now, and more than likely he's going to pass that along the way. But like you're saying, I mean, this game's the mental part of it is going up there to the box and swinging at 90 plus, 80 plus. You got different movement of balls, vertical and horizontal. You got to find a way to adjust, and you got to find a way to do it quickly, because right now Chas McCormick, this has probably been one of the worst seasons he's played as an Astro. Real quick, I'm on his stat if the internet would help me out right now. Okay, here we go. 204 batting average right now, 4 home runs, 21 RBIs, a 574 OPS, and he's only played 24 games this season. Last year, he played the most out of his. Oh, no. Take that back. I was looking at runs. He's played 70 games this season. 119 has been his career high, and that was in 2022.
To me, I think Chas McCormick is the guy with the most pressure, just because he's seeing. I mean, they're gonna give him his chances to figure it out at the plate. But if he doesn't, you have guys like Pedro Leon who just came up that can take fit in right there. Jacob Melton's playing well in the minors as well. That could kind of settle up in there. And Mauricio Dubon, if he gets going, also could throw in at bats too. So I mean, you have like many guys there that are winning, are ready to take a leap forward. But I think Chad McCormick knows he has to play better. I think that's kind of getting to him a little bit.
Yeah, and they're at this point right now too. Whoever's hot, whoever's hot, whoever is hot right now, whoever has the hot hand is going to be the guy going forward.
Yeah.
Right now, Chas McCormick is not doing that. If Pedro Leon gets hot and starts playing really well, then more than anything, he's going to replace Chaz real quick. And it's going to be interesting, too, for this offseason coming up, what the Astros are going to do with Chaz, what they're going to do with Jake. There's a lot of questions in the air of what's going to happen in the offseason. But as of right now, you got to stay present and try to figure it out going into this season.
Absolutely, absolutely. But, let's finish it off on a good. Well, let's go on to a good note. Let's move on to the Carne Asada. And I know Zell, before the podcast, I was jamming to some Fin de Semana by Oscar Mayon. So that's going to be the song of the day. Let's start with Yordan Alvarez. Again, like Lorenzo said, he hit his 150th career home run in his 590th game, which is the fastest Astro to reach that number. I don't know if he said, but George Springer had the previous record with 723 games, so he beat him by a long margin. Yeah. So, but he went 3 for 11, one home run, one run, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, and pretty big hits for Yordan Alvarez, like Lorenzo was saying. That's what he's bringing to me because broke the record for fastest in 250 games, and his home runs were crucial to the Astros' victory. Another Astro invite to the Carne Asada is Framber Valdez. Again, like we said earlier, 1 out away from his second no-hitter of the season. I'm sorry, second career no-hitter. He is so. We'll take a look at this. He is, since basically coming off from the All-Star break, he is now 6-0 in his last 8 starts with a 2.81 ERA, 16 runs and 51.1 innings pitched. The Astros are 8-0 in that span. His 6 wins are since June 23rd, which tops the majors in that time frame. Now, let me give you some stats. So since 2020, so again, it's going back a few years, since 2020, this is and like this goes for the American League only, not National League. Framber Valdez since 2020 leads American League pitchers in wins with 50. He has a record of 56-31. Garrett Cole is second on the list with 54-25, and Jose Barrios from Toronto with 49-41 is third. Framber Valdez is also third in ERA since 2020 among AL pitchers. Shane Bieber has a 2.91. Garrett Cole 3.19 and Framber Valdez 3.23. And then lastly, since 2020, Framber Valdez leads American League pitchers in complete games with 7, followed by Garrett Cole 6, and Navati and Jordan Lyles with 4.
Jordan Lyles, wow.
Yes, Jordan Lyles made the list.
Former Astro right there too.
Yeah, journeyman.
I would never have thought. If you told me that in a trivia question, I would have never guessed that.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would have guessed that. I'm going to be honest with you.
Honestly, when I was typing it, surprised myself. I had to double check. But moving on, Yanier Diaz is another one. The Astros finally have a 300 batting average hitting catch. He went 5 for 12, and he actually ranks number 1 in catcher batting average among catchers with 300 or more batting at bat. It's like more at bats this season. So that's MLB wise. So that's both. That's above William Contreras from the Brewers, Wilson Contreras from the Cardinals, the guys like that, JT Realmuto, Will Smith. So I mean, Yanier Diaz is looking like he's a real deal, given that he's had the opportunity this year. And then lastly, I know he only had 2 hits, but I mean, he was a difference maker in that game, and that's going to be Jake Myers. He went 2 for 12. However, his 2 RBIs were the difference making game 2. He went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and marked his first multi RBI game since July 20th. So I know he's been kind of struggling a little bit, but he's finding it, and you know maybe he can do good from there. And also shout out to Rook because Lorenzo recorded his first major league hit, and I think he was after starting 0 for 4. He went 2 for 4 in the next game.
Okay, so he did have 2 hits on that. Daniel did put up the rookie did look good. By the way, did you see Bleacher Report walk off on social? The what's his name? Joe Reuter. His top 10 catchers right now, and this is the order: Ali Rutschman at 1, William Contreras at 2, Will Smith at 3. I think that's a really great start right there. Okay, Cal Riley at 4, Logan O'Hoppe at 5, Salvador Perez at 6. I think Salvi could be a little bit moved up there, maybe in the 4 or 5. I would say maybe 4, and then Cal Riley in 5. Then this one gets out of hand, I think. Patrick Bailey in 7, which is Giants catcher. Connor Wong, shout out U of H out there. Boston Red Sox is 8. Number 9 is Yainer Diaz, and number 10 is Shea Langoliers from the Oakland Athletics. What do you think of the list?
I don't agree with it.
Do you agree with the Yainer Diaz one then?
No, I don't. I'm not, again, I'm not just being biased. I think the list should be Ali Rutschman. Give me the top 3 again.
Ali Rutschman, William Contreras, Will Smith, Cal Riley, Logan O'Hoppe.
Okay. So stop right there. So those first 3, I agree with. Good order there. I think honestly, you can play around with Yainer Diaz, Salvador Perez at 4 or 5. I mean, how are you feeling? And then Logan O'Hoppe after that, Cal Riley after that, and then finish it off from there.
I will say this: I think William Contreras does deserve to be number 1. The way he's been hitting the ball this season, and the way he's been controlling the rotation, even the bullpen, I honestly think he should be number 1. Rutschman 2 for me. Will Smith's really perfect where he's at 3. Yeah. Salvi, I think, needs to be 4.
Yep.
I'll go here. I'll go DS 5. I'll go Cal Riley 6 because Cal Riley is really, he's honestly, if you take away Julio Rodriguez, which he hasn't really had a good season, Cal Riley's been the guy that's been bringing the guys in from extra base hits like doubles to home runs. He's been really the guy, the offensive spark, I would say, for that lineup. So I'll go Cal Riley 6, Connor Wong 7, Logan O'Hoppe 8, Patrick Bailey 9, and Shea Langoliers 10. Or maybe Shea Langoliers and Patrick Bailey.
There you go. Yeah. I would even say Shea Langoliers above Connor Wong, too.
Connor Wong's really had a good season, though.
Yeah, especially so as Shea Langoliers.
God, I can't wait for the offseason. We're going to have all these topics coming up. Who's who? Who's the best at this? But yeah, if y'all haven't seen that, Bleacher Report walk-off has it. BR walk-off. And it says Ali headlines our top 10 catchers list again. And Joe Reuter, who works for Bleacher Report, is the guy that had published that list.
Wait, so there's no pitcher preview. Is it my turn again?
There is no pitching preview today. I will say this, though. The Red Sox 61-52 record, they will be going to Beantown over there, shipping out to Boston. Shout out Dropkick Murphys. 6-4 in their last 10 games. They're in the AL East, like you said earlier in the show, Angel. 1.5 games back from that last wild card spot. I think the Astros' probable starting pitchers for this series is going to be Ronel Blanco, Spencer Arrighetti, and Hunter Brown. That's probably more than likely how it's going to be. Don't actually quote me on that, but I'd say them 3 pitchers, if it's not in that order, it's going to be those 3 in that series. And then for the Red Sox, I really don't know who's going to start for them. They haven't put, like we said before in the show, that they didn't put out a like the rotation for this series. So helps out me because I don't have to do a pitching preview because my gosh, I kid you not, I'm losing my voice after going from all 3, really 6 pitchers from each game. Well, from game to game to game.
So, I mean, I guess let's move on to the train station. So
let's go.
Bring that whistle out here, right? But let's start with one of the guys Astros fans want to hear and want to be back. It's going to be Kyle Tucker. So I mean, he's looked good. I'm just gonna sum up like before I read the the quotes and all that stuff. I mean, talk like how Tucker's looked good. I think it's more of a feels game with him. I mean, it, the Astros want him 100%, so like a slight pain in there could be a difference between an infield hit or an out or caught it like a fly ball caught and letting it drop, right? So I think they want him 100%. So per Brian McTaggart, Espada said Kyle Tucker did a bunch of stuff on the outfield in Houston, so he did not travel to the team. I don't think he will be traveling to Fenway Park either. On Tuesday, Danner Brown had some words to say on Kyle Tucker, and this is what he said, and I quote: "I feel like I'm watching the videos they I feel like watching the videos they've been sending me from him working out back at Minute Park, that he's coming along very well. He's doing more strenuous activity in terms of experience. I feel Tucker is getting closer, a lot closer. I think the type of injury that Tucker had, I think it's one of those things. Once you really start feeling good every day, it's going to be quicker than people think. Right now, the goal is to get him to endure more strenuous baseball activity and then potentially could get him in a rehab and move forward." And then this is Wednesday. Danner Brown had words on Sports Talk 790. This is what he had to say. And I quote: "We should get him back sometime this month. He's pretty much pain free and making great progress. He had good activity yesterday in Houston. There's a chance he could be back in the big leagues this month. We need him bad." Close quote. So, I mean, I think that's what kind of our prediction was, like having Justin Verlander and Kyle Tucker back before the end of the month. I think that's what it's looking back. I don't think he'll really need much rehab assignments. Maybe one, two, three, four, but they can be a little bit more consecutive. Whereas Justin Verlander would have to wait, like 5 days to pitch again. So I think he could be back sooner than Justin Verlander, and that's a bat the Astros dearly miss. As you can see, with 5 through 9 struggling, Cal Tucker is gonna, bring some relief to that Astros batting order.
100% agree. For those that don't know what strenuous means, this is according to Google.
Oh,
Vigorous
bring the
exertion.
nutrition. Google. Well, what about your college degree? Let's go. You don't need
Dude,
Google.
I don't know that shit in the top of my head. Strenuous is an adjective. We'll go to Merriam-Webster dictionary. How about that? Um, it says vigorously active, energetic. The second definition under it, marked by or calling for energy or stamina. Wow. But yeah, like you were saying, I don't see him. I don't see him going to Fenway. I don't, and I think the Astros or Spada had already mentioned that. To me, it's like, why wasn't this done from the get go? I would say. Obviously, I know he wants to travel with the team to to be on the road and support and all that stuff, but I mean, nobody had predicted Kyle Tucker being out for 2 months. If it was a bet, I would have betted that he would have been in the next couple of weeks, not 2 months. But I think the Astros should have had done that plan a little bit earlier than what it is already now. I mean, it's already going to be by the time Kyle Tucker comes back, it'll be looking at the last week of August, and then
Yeah.
maybe early September.
So there goes his 30-30 season. I don't think he gets it.
Oh, not even close. There's
Yeah.
no way he's 30.
But another guy that's kind of like on the verge from coming back is Justin Verlander. On Tuesday, Verlander, uh, it was said that Verlander would throw a bullpen tomorrow, which is Wednesday, right? And if all goes well, he'll throw a rehab, a rehab assignment for Sugarland this weekend. On Wednesday, they said that we should see Verlander back here soon. Then we can go to a 6-man rotation in the dog days of summer. And then another thing is Space Cowboys social earlier in the evening put a social post saying Verlander will start his rehab assignment on Saturday. So I mean that's good news for the Astros because they need
Very
a
good
6-man
news.
rotation bad. Uh, they need him to just continue that running, right? They continue pitching well for the Astros to give him a chance to go to the playoffs, and in the playoffs they will need Justin Verlander.
I think it's two guys more than anything need this as of right now, and I'm gonna say Spencer Rigetti and I think Ronel Blanco. I honestly think those two guys really need that extra day off. Just And I mean, they've done a really good job. I'm not saying they didn't before, but getting that extra day of rest that just really helps a lot, especially for Ronel Blanco, who's already gone over his threshold of career innings in a season.
I mean, he's gonna be very valuable to the Astros, especially to save some arms, like you were saying. Like we were saying a few podcasts earlier with Ronel Blanco, Spencer Getty, Hunter Brown. They've thrown more than they had in their entire careers, and having just a runner back to give them an extra day of rest is always good. Now, some concerns is Luis Garcia. On Monday and Tuesday, Luis Garcia remains in Otro after feeling elbow soreness after a bullpen. On Wednesday, Dana Brown mentioned that there's no timeline on Luis Garcia, who has been shut down from throwing. So, honestly, now I don't think you see Luis Garcia at all this season. I think that's the way it's
That
saying
is your
tonight.
prediction.
That's
That
my
is your
prediction.
prediction.
Yeah, that's my prediction. Yes. I think maybe in a late run in the playoffs.
And then now maybe hold up, maybe. Come on,
I'm just gonna say. I'm just gonna say.
either maybe or you. I mean, you already said it with your gut already. You
I
already
did. I
said
did.
he's not throwing this season,
He's not like the regular
so he's
season.
not.
He's not. He's not. No. I'll just
Oh,
leave it
now
at
you're
that.
saying regular season. So if
I'll
the
just
Astros
leave it
make
at that. I'll just leave it at that. I'll just leave it
come
at that.
on,
He's
man.
not. He's not throwing this season.
I will say this. I think I'm not going to agree with you on that. I think they do. I think he does throw this season, but you're maybe looking at now with this happening, you're possibly looking at the middle to the end part of September. Do the Astros play in October? Like the 3 games usually they play? I don't think they do.
Yeah.
They don't? Okay, so I think, like I said, middle part of September, leaning towards the end of the month of September.
So he's not throwing.
He's throwing. I say he's throwing. You're the one that say he isn't.
And then lastly, we have Kendall Graveman. Graveman got a positive on Tuesday. Graveman got a positive check up from his doctor visit in Dallas. On Tuesday, they also said he could start throwing bullpens soon. Hasn't ruled out making a late season return, so keep an eye on that. Like we told you, like once we get updates from players, we'll get them for you. And Kendall Graveman was a guy you kind of really didn't hear much this season, but there it is.
That's huge if he comes back for the Astros this season. Really helps out that middle relief part of the bullpen.
Yeah. And before I move on to around the horn, I see we have some more people visiting, entering our live podcast. If you missed some things, we'll post it in a bit, and you can catch that at the beginning of this podcast whenever you can on your car ride to work and all that stuff. But I think we're almost going to wrap it up. It's time for around the horn, but we do have some pretty big news around the MLB this time. The Texas Rangers will make their way to the White House to go celebrate their 2023 World Series win. That's pretty much inside. I wonder if everybody's going to be there. I know sometimes players skip out and all that stuff, but hopefully everybody's there. And
I mean, that's how I had called earlier. You remember?
The what?
I said, you remember I had somebody call from the White Office, the
Did
White House.
Did he confirm everybody was going to be there?
I can't confirm or deny. The Secret Service only leaves that for something else.
Yeah. Okay. And the White Sox, as you all know, were on a 21-game losing streak. It ended Tuesday, so I mean they beat the A's 4-1, but it wasn't enough to save Pedro Griffel's job as he was fired. Grady Sizemore. Does that name sound familiar?
When you think of Grady Sizemore, what team do you think of?
Indians.
There it is. I was hoping you would say Indians.
Yeah. Grady Sizemore, named as interim manager for the remainder of the 2024 season. I mean, I don't know. I think the White Sox were not going to win like a lot of games. They put kind of Pedro Griffo in a bad spot there. But, I mean, at the end of the day, 21-game losing streak is kind of unacceptable in any professional sport all around. So, there it is.
I think in his 2 seasons with the White Sox, he had like a losing record. I think it was like 90 wins and 100-something losses.
Most definitely, yeah. And then the Oakland A's, as you can see, as we told you earlier, it's the last game that the Oakland Coliseum will be used in the Major League park. Maybe you haven't gone, try to go up there as soon as you can because you have about a few months to go, 2 months to go enjoy the confines of Oakland Coliseum. But on September 26th is already sold out, which is the final game, which is crazy because there hasn't been so many fans in attendance, but it's sold out on September 26th. The final homestand will include $2 tickets and free parking on September 28th, 2040. You can't beat that. And then $10 tickets for the September 25th game.
Damn. Want to take a flight to Oakland? $2 tickets. You can't beat that, dude. You can't beat $2 tickets. Reminds me of the time when the Astros had them 100 lost seasons, had $5 tickets on the top.
I was about to bring that up. Yeah,
free parking just right Metro Rail.
I remember, like in Little League, how they would give out tickets. Sometimes I remember seeing the ticket stubs like $1.
You can't even get ticket stubs now. All of a sudden, that's the part that I hate. Well, at least at Minute Maid. I think the Rangers still do it, but I know Minute Maid for sure. You can't. You have to buy a commemorative ticket for like 30 plus after spending $30-something or $20-something for a damn ticket just to get in, and then you got paid $30-something. I like $50 or $60 for a ticket.
Yeah,
a stub.
Yeah,
that's the economy that we're living in now in this baseball world.
It really is. And then lastly, Billy Bean. No, not that Billy Bean from Moneyball, but Billy Bean from MLB passed away. He was a senior VP of diversity and inclusion. So, our condolences for the full team ahead family to his family. But it wasn't that Billy Bean from Moneyball. It was a different Billy Bean.
Billy Bean from the San Diego Padres.
Yes.
$2 tickets, dude. I'm still not over that. $2 tickets.
I wonder how many hot dogs are going to be.
Might as well put the Dollar Dog Night on that day. And you know what team they're facing off that final homestand?
I think Seattle, right?
No.
Or
the 2023 World Series champions, Texas Rangers.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So that's why they're selling them so cheap. But anyway, episode 203 is in the books. Like Angel had said earlier, if you did miss any of the episode, we'll be putting this on YouTube as well as on the podcast platforms that we have on Spotify and Apple. This episode will be uploaded for tomorrow morning. So if you have your early morning commute, you got to take the kids to school, going to your job, lunch break, whatever it is, make sure you go over there and hit that play video. Then you don't miss what we were talking about in today's podcast. But Angel Harvey had said it earlier. Our social media is on the ticker below: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done that, because we have a lot of people from Twitter on right now from our audience. So if you're on Twitter, make sure you go to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button since you're already there as well. Andrew, you got anything else before we sign off?
No, thank you for listening. Appreciate the crowd. I feel like at whatever time we record, we always have a good crowd. So thanks to the local faithful out there. And I just appreciate, tell your friends, subscribe, share, retweet posts. I know on Twitter, retweets are pretty important. So, retweet.
Most definitely. But like you were saying, what were you saying earlier? Oh, I already lost what I was saying. Anyway, series in Beantown this weekend. We'll give you that recap of that Boston Red Sox series and give you the preview as they travel to the Trop in Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg to face off the Rays once again. But y'all have a safe and blessed weekend, and we'll talk to y'all soon.
Peace.